Hey, what's up, everybody? I was scrolling through YouTube here looking for stuff to watch and remembered that I also need to do some reaction videos. And I seen this video that said I should have gotten a Steam Deck a long time ago. Um, I've been curious about the Steam Decks. I haven't seen much about them. I have a friend that's got a Rogue Ally by Asus, and it looks a lot like the Switch that I have, but I haven't been much into those are more like high powered, I guess, and I guess the Steam Deck was out first. Uh, Always been out of my price range to ever get something like that, so I don't even keep up with what they're capable of. But this one piqued my interest, and I thought I'd check it out. Let's see why he should have gotten it a long time ago. Maybe I should have gotten it a long time ago. But they're a lot of money, so I can't see why I would have needed it. But anyways, let's check it out.
I wanted a way to unwind at night without doom scrolling on Reels or TikTok, and I thought replacing that with gaming was a good idea, especially since there's studies coming out now that suggest there's certain cognitive benefits to gaming, like reaction time, memory, and just other stuff. I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but there's studies coming out that show that. I feel like gaming...
It probably is, and it's probably in comparison to, like he said, I think he said he was looking for a way to get away from doom scrolling, which is a problem. I find myself doing it way more than I care to admit. I've actively tried to get away from the doom scrolling. I went as far as I've got one of the Ambernick Game Boy replicas, and I play games on it, and I also got an actual MP3 player to listen to music on my MP3 player because I don't have to worry about notifications on my MP3 player. Excuse me. But yeah, the doom scrolling is definitely an issue, and I can see where something like that would come in handy. I I use my Ambernick in all kinds of places just sitting around.
over social media is always a win. I wouldn't consider myself a gamer because as you get older, you got stuff to do, and I'm not going to sit at a desk and play games. I've been using my Steam Deck nonstop since I got it at the beginning of the month, and I gotta say I haven't enjoyed gaming more than playing games on this thing. I'm rediscovering games I never fully got into, like Borderlands 3, which runs really good on the Steam Deck, getting consistent frame rate, and it's a really enjoyable experience. It's actually better on the Steam Deck than playing it on a full-fledged gaming.
What is the frame rate thing about? I've never really, I've heard people talk about it, but to me, I guess I don't pay that close a detail to the frame rate. Like, I know what frame rate is from doing film and stuff like that, but like, your eyes can only see so many frames per second anyway, so I don't understand why it would make that big of a difference.
PC. I don't think I could go back to gaming on a desk because the Steam Deck has just spoiled me. Having the ability to just play it on a couch or on your bed is way more enjoyable of an experience than getting your mouse and keyboard ready, all set up on the desk, especially since
I've always been a controller kind of gamer, never been a PC gamer, so I almost find that comical because in a way he's just going to controller version. It's just all built into one system.
working at a desk. Most of the time when you go to a desk, you're going there for a purpose. It's a productivity purpose. When you load up a game, it's not fun. It's not fun playing games at the same place where you're doing work. So
It wouldn't bother me. I don't do work at my desk. Maybe if I did, it would bother me. I don't know.
having this thing, it spoiled me. I don't think I could go back to playing on a desk. The Steam Deck's performance is the most impressive thing to me. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to give you a breakdown of the...
I think that if it looked good and I could visually see that, oh, this one looks better than this one, then maybe the frame rates would make a difference there. But to me, like, I don't think the frame rates would make that big of a difference. But maybe subconsciously I'd be like, oh yeah, this one looks better. So maybe it does. I don't know.
best games to play on the Steam Deck, because online you kind of always see the same three mentioned. So I'm going to give you You know, a couple of them might actually be in my list, but I'm gonna give you some ones you've never heard of towards the end of the video, and we're gonna talk more about that. Right out of the box, when you boot up the Steam Deck, boot up, what am I, from the 80s? Right when you start this,
It made sense to me until he questioned it, and I'm like, what's wrong with it?
Steam Deck up, log into your Steam, you're gonna probably have a bunch of games that are already compatible with the Steam Deck. And the beauty of it is you just download it, install it, and it just works. Even the ones that are completely unsupported can get running thanks to the internet and thanks to Reddit, because there's so many helpful people up. Hey, Reddit, you got a lot of helpful people over there. A good example of this is Call of Duty World at War. Steam says it's completely unsupported, but that wasn't gonna stop me from playing old school zombies on this thing. Turns out it actually does work, and it doesn't really require any workaround. So you just install it and then launch it. And then
They used to work before, like all the games used to work before without an internet connection. This whole like gotta have an internet connection to download a 30 gigabyte update, 60 gigabyte update to a game that you just bought. It should all be on the disc or whatever.
the Steam Deck will remap your mouse and your WASD keys. So that's kind of like weird, because it says it's unsupported, but then when I install it and don't touch anything, it just works. So that's why go through your Steam library and you could just try launching stuff. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, check Reddit and see if there's a fix. Part of what makes the Steam Deck so good is that it just works.
Reddit is so toxic. I hate getting on Reddit. You can't ask a question because you got to fulfill like 6 different qualifications to be able to ask a question. Then if you do get a question asked on there, they're so rude. Like you're beneath them. I don't know. I don't like Reddit.
It's like people that buy iPhones. You're buying an iPhone because 99% of the time you're just gonna use it.
I like that Elvis Presley shirt.
And it's gonna work.
I don't like iPhone. I'm a Samsung guy.
Steam Deck is the same way. It just performs how it should. There's no headaches. The UI is very easy to use, very easy to navigate. It just works. Even installing emulators on the Steam Deck is just such an effortless procedure. So we're gonna get to that a little bit later on, but everything is just thought out and designed to just work, which is just beautiful. From the games you run to navigating around to just the UI in general, it all just works, and it all just works well. But it's not all roses. So here's a few things you need to keep in mind if you're thinking about getting one. Battery life is only acceptable. There's no other way of saying it, but it's not great and it's not horrible. It's just acceptable. Obviously,
battery technology has a long way to go. Until we can get away from lithium, we're going to keep having these battery problem issues. Like, I think there's going to be better technology out there, but they're so locked up on lithium that it's crazy. But we can end up having batteries that are way better.
Depends what you play. With lighter titles, you're going to see better battery life, but don't expect like 10 hours of consistent playtime. With more intensive stuff though, you will considerably notice how much faster it gets chewed up. An easy solution to getting more battery life is just getting a battery pack. So if you want to take this on a longer flight or a road trip, all you got to do is make sure it supports 45 watts of charging, and then you're good to go. Next thing to keep in mind is that it's not super portable. You could certainly bring it places because it is a handheld, but it's a lot more bulky than I was expecting. So if you're thinking about bringing this, playing it on public transport, I feel like it's going to be a weird experience, but you can definitely bring it places. I would bring it on a flight, on a road trip, or to like a separate location, but I wouldn't bring it kind of like on the go in a backpack or anything.
See, I probably agree with that. That's one of the things, the reason why I like the Switch original versus like the Switch 2 or the Steam Deck or the Asus Ally Rogue, whatever. The Switch is more compact. Even the Switch, I think, is a little big sometimes. I'm just like, man, I miss, like, maybe it's just because I, had the Game Boy growing up. Matter of fact, I got a Switch right here. So, like, this is it's way better, I think, than something that's going to be like out to here. So I get what he's saying. Plus, you can take the controllers off and you can set this up on a table somewhere, and you're not, I don't know, you're not taking up as big of a space. I can see what he's talking about.
It's just best suited to move around the house or take to another physical location. What I just said, so why am I repeating myself? It's definitely portable, but on-the-go gaming is just, I don't know, I feel like it'd be a kind of awkward experience. Obviously, that depends how comfortable you are, so here are the dimensions, and here's it compared to a 16-inch MacBook Pro. This last thing really isn't a complaint, it's just rather a suggestion on how to make the Steam Deck better. I feel like it'd be really sick to be able to run Spotify or another music app, or maybe even a podcast app, and have stuff run in the background while you're playing games. Maybe include it somewhere on the side UI, but having this natively in the Steam Deck would be really sick. Maybe someone has a mod or something online, but if Valve did this, I feel like this would make the Steam Deck so much better and just a really big improvement to the quality of life of the person using it, because being able to play something and listen to something and adjust the volume, you know, obviously accordingly, that would be really sick. Now that we have that,
I mean, I feel like it should be easy to do. Isn't it essentially a Windows device and a handheld? Or am I wrong? I don't know. I always thought that, I don't know what platform. Do they run like Linux or something? I don't know. Once again, I don't have one, so.
by the way, let's talk about games. I want to give you guys my favorite games. So the first thing I started playing was Dead Cells. That was the thing I clocked the most amount of hours in. That is probably the best Steam Deck game. It looks like it's built for Steam Deck. It's best played with controller. Second, obviously, Borderlands 3, and then Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. That's a game that has been recommended for the Steam Deck on basically every website you see, but I think it's a really great game to play and a very easy game to get into. Also, Shredders is a lesser known game that I didn't even know about, but it's like a snowboarding version of the Skate series, so I think the physics in it, the graphics are great, the mechanics, everything about that game is just satisfying, so that's a lesser known game you should check out. And then I have a soft spot for Lego Star Wars because that's a game I grew up with. So Lego Star Wars.
I didn't grow up with the Star Wars. He must be a little younger than me. My son played Star Wars growing up, but I just a little too childish for me, I guess. I loved Legos growing up, like the actual Legos, but whenever they went all digital and only, I don't know, it's just weird.
Skywalker Saga. I know, I'm a grown man, but that's a game that's really fun on this. There's plenty of games on Steam, plenty of genres, so you're sure to find something you like. But if that's
I have no room to talk. I play Pokemon, so
still not enough for you, you can install emulators on your Steam Deck, and you know damn well that I did. EmuDeck is the gold standard for emulators on Steam Deck, and that's basically what you want to use. So I'll leave links down below if you're interested in installing that. But the way emulators run on the Steam Deck and the ease in how the Steam Deck handles these emulators make it just an even better buy. Like,
did it just show Nintendo Switch games on there?
Emulators on your Steam Deck, and you know damn well that I did. EmuDeck is the gold standard for emulators on Steam Deck, and that's basically what you want to use. So I'll leave links down below if you're interested in installing that. But the way emulators run on the Steam Deck and the
PS, Xbox 360, PS3. I could play some PS3 games.
ease in how the Steam Deck handles
Nintendo Switch,
these emulators make it just an even better buy. Like, not only can you play your PC games and your Steam library, but you could just play any retro console or even newer consoles. You know, I'm looking at you, Nintendo Switch, just straight from the Steam Deck, handheld. It's great. It's just makes the Steam Deck a better purchase. I popped in.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where it would be good if you could get your games over from Nintendo onto it. I feel like you'd have to spend just as much money buying the equipment to download the games off the cartridges than you would to just buy the Switch, though. Unless it runs better, maybe it's worth it. I don't know. That or get it illegally, but I don't recommend doing that.
A 256 gigabyte micro SD card, which, by the way, is such a cheap and easy way of getting more storage, and you can also just hot swap them. So if you have some games on this one, some games on another one, just pop them in and out, and the Steam Deck will immediately recognize the library of games. So I use that card solely for the emulator stuff. So I installed EmuDeck and all my ROMs, and then the rest of that space is just taken up by more Steam games. But I kind of wanted the emulator to live compartmentalized on that SD card. It's worth mentioning that I went for the LCD based model, which I have no complaints about it. The screen to me has really good colors, really good detail, and I think for the value, for the price, it's very hard to beat the base.
It does look good, but personally, I think an OLED screen looks a lot better.
LCD model. Once you start looking at the OLED models, the price jumps up quite a
I mean, you get what you pay for, though.
bit. And I know the OLED is definitely better. You do get a bigger battery, but I feel like for the price, you can't beat the LCD model. If you want to throw the most money at getting the best looking screen, the best device, the best Steam Deck, yeah, you can go with the OLED, but for the
If I was gonna buy it, I'd rather just wait just a little bit longer and buy the OLED version, save up that extra money that it takes, and not necessarily for the bigger battery, but for the better screen quality. Maybe that's why I've always not cared about frame rate. I always care about like clarity, not I don't know, not clarity, not frame rate. I don't know.
price for most of you that want good value for your dollar, you're going to want to go with the LCD model because it's very hard to beat at that price tag.
Oh, and the OLED had double the storage in the middle tier than it did on the lower tier. Or spend another extra bit of money for the 1 terabyte.
My experience with the Steam Deck. I also want to mention I really like the ability of having a handheld. It kind of brings me back to when I had my PSP.
That's more, you know, if we could get the quality, like the RAM, the CPU, the graphics, an OLED screen, a decent battery, everything like that, onto something the form factor size of PSP, that might be the way to go. I mean, honestly, do you have, maybe a bigger screen is better, I don't know, but I feel like it's not as portable to have something extremely big. At that point, you might as well carry around like a external monitor that's like the size of a tablet in your backpack, and then hook it up to your gaming device, and then you've got a bigger screen.
As a kid, and just being able to bring that around the house and play it wherever you want, next to whoever you want, like just you could chill out and play that.
I wouldn't mind having a PSP. I didn't ever get one, so if anybody has any recommendations on PSP stuff or wants to give away a PSP, I'll take it.
I feel like having these handhelds come back again, maybe thanks to Nintendo introducing the Switch, but whether it's the ROG Ally or the Steam Deck, they make gaming portable again, and it's a really fun thing to see because that's something that kind of was diminishing and then now it's made a comeback. So I don't know, that's cool. As somebody who doesn't have time for gaming that much, and having the ability to unwind with this has really made a good positive experience to get rid of all that doom scrolling. I think a lot of people who wouldn't consider themselves a gamer like myself would benefit from having one of these.
You're more of a gamer than I am, because I don't have one of those. I do consider myself a gamer. I just not like hardcore gamer, like not into like competition gaming. So if it requires being a competition, like best of the best to be a gamer, then no, I'm not a gamer. But I grew up with like old school stuff. My first game that I played was an Atari, then a Nintendo, and then like everything I ever got was like hand-me-down stuff. I got it several years after the fact.
And I think it's worth it for a lot of people. I don't regret buying it one bit. Might I say, this is the best purchase of 2025 that I've done. So I don't know, take that for what you will, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you pick one up. Let me know if you have one and what your favorite games are. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.
Yeah, so if y'all have a Steam Deck or an Asus ROG Ally, or both, y'all let me know which one y'all think is the best one out of the two. Because if I ever do buy one or get one, whatever, I'd like to know whatever the best option is. But if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and a follow. I appreciate you hanging out. Just my 2 cents here. Just, it is what it is. So we'll see y'all in the next video.